I remember watching the first Wonder Years back in 1990. I think it came out in eight. If I'm not mistaken, it came out in '89. I was 7 years old in 1989. I used to watch this show religiously. Every time it came on, I would watch it. About a story about like the original Wonder Years, which focused on some kid named Kevin growing up in the late '60s during the era of Vietnam. Suburban white family. He got the older brother who's almost out of the house, the loving parents and whatnot. It was basically the story. It was basically the narrator. The narrator was basically telling his childhood story, uh, in a reminiscing type of view. And I was so fascinated with the Wonder Years. Be honest with you, back then I thought that was really shot in the '60s, but it was filmed in the '90s, in the late '80s, early '90s, as some it was basically a nostalgic series. They've done that before with with like the Happy Days was filmed it was based in the '50s, but it was filmed around the 1970s. Like they like so that concept wasn't really nothing new. But like when I used to watch that, like at that, even though I was fascinated with the Wonder Years, I never, I didn't think, I didn't really think uh, about those years in that era from a black perspective until like years later when I used to like I would wonder like yeah, Wonder Years was a good show, but like that was a white kid story. I'm thinking like what about a black kid story? I always wonder like because and like lo and behold, they're coming out with a new series. They're coming out with a new. They're bringing. I think the original Wonder Years ended like in '94, '95 when he became a teen when the Kevin character became a teenager. He ended up marrying. Damn the girl. I forget the girl's name. The girl he fell head over heels for. Like that eventually ended with him being with her. But then of course it went off the air. Decades later, a couple of decades later, they're bringing the series back, but they're bringing it back from a black perspective. It's a story about a little black kid, 12-year old, living in Montgomery, Alabama, in 1968. And we already know this is gonna come from a historical standpoint because if you're black, you already know what was going on during those times. They're finally gonna speak on. See this. Well, you know what I call this Wonder Years. This is Wonder. This is blackish. This version of Wonder Years is blackish from a historical standpoint because because we already know what was happening during 1968. 1968. That's the same year that that Dr. King was assassinated. When we were still when the Black Panther Party was on the rise of fucking shit up and like black people were still dealing with the racist white supremacist structure that was deemed to destroy them from every angle. Like so we already know that the Black Wonder Years is going to speak on that subject, but it's and of course in this series, the 12-year-old is with a mother and father, and we are with his mother father, and we know around this time that's when the government um, started to create the welfare the welfare system and try to around and try to take the black male out of the family because this around this time 1968 late 60 early 7 that's when the welfare started to attack the black families, especially the black male, providing them like taking factory jobs out of the slowly but surely taking factory jobs out of the cities and like but you're providing them with this, but the black man can't be around. This right here was on the verge of all this shit popping off. Even though in this series, a few years prior, Malcolm X and Megan Evans was assassinated, and Lyndon Baines Johnson had just signed the Civil Rights Voting Act of doing away with uh, upfront in your face segregation, even though they took the signs down, but was replaced with invisible ones. If you ask me, this series is long overdue. They should have been done. They should have been done. Pointed this out, but you know something. It just some things that you can't deny. Even though like this is talking about uh American life from a black a black viewpoint. We already know. We already if you're black, you already knew. You already know what they're gonna speak on in this very series. And of course, they got Fred Savage, who played in the original Wonder Years, being the executive producer. But like, even though the main producer is a black dude, so we already you already know what's coming with this series. Will I be watching this? I think I will. I'll just check it out. I hope they don't. I hope they don't sugarcoat shit. I really hope they don't. They don't sugarcoat this story. Like because unfortunately, when it comes to black TV shows, they got to sugarcoat shit for insensitive white people who are in denial of white guilt. That's why they're trying to get over. That's why like they're trying to get do away with a certain talk about certain subjects in classrooms, um, because a lot of white people do not want to. They don't want to be reminded about the evils that they have committed, the evils that they have done in this society. That's why they're signing these laws saying that you don't have to talk about civil rights or civil rights in schools, and trying to paint the Ku Klux Klan as choir boys. This is one of the main reasons why shows like this is one of the main reasons why um they're talking they want to try to do away with the history of white evil, a history of white supremacy. This is why shows like this is a prime example of that. Will I be watching this? I think I will. I hope. 'Cause I hope they don't try to give it the Blackish treatment. I really hope this is not the '60s version of Blackish. I hope it's not the '60s version of Blackish. Talk about the talk about it all. Don't talk about don't sugarcoat shit. 'Cause like when it comes to black people, they always got to sugarcoat shit. Come on now. That's all I got to say about this.